Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading for August 8th, 2019. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. All right, so the main thing that we saw happen last night was actually our New Zealand dollar data here. So we saw Reserve Bank of New Zealand cut the interest rate. Instead of cutting it by quarter point, they, excuse me, instead of cutting the interest rate by quarter point, they cut it by 0.5 percentage point, and that was really unexpected. Nobody in the market was expecting that. We were looking at a quarter point interest rate cut, and that was already kind of in the market, so everything was priced in. However, that unexpected 0.5% 0.5% cut really set the pace for New Zealand dollar, and we saw New Zealand dollar drop in a big way, and that was across the board. Especially Euro New Zealand went up substantially because of this interest rate cut. So that was yesterday. So now taking a look at our news during the day, we didn't really have a whole lot of important news. Coming up, though, we have current account numbers for Japanese yen. So this is an important number because it shows the difference between their exports and imports. And right now, exports are very important. So that number could have an impact on Japanese yen here. And then, sorry, excuse me. And then we have trade balance numbers for China here. And again, with the trade wars front and center here, this number is important because if you see the trade balance numbers actually drop, that will have a negative impact on Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar because it shows that the Chinese economy is deteriorating. So tomorrow we have, let's see, not a ton of news. We have RBA Governor Lau speaking here, and then monetary policy statement. So we could see an impact on Australian dollar here. But for the most part, everything is priced in at this point. So I'm not expecting anything, any major changes in that. So a fairly quiet day here in terms of data. So let's go on to our charts now. So we'll start off by taking a look at our euro dollar here. So we see two candles back to back that are neutral. So today's candle as well, we did see a big move to the upside, but then price dropped. It almost got into the high of yesterday's candle, wasn't able to break it. So now we have an indecision candle again. So this here looks similar to this, where price had gone up, and then we saw this indecision in the market, and then price dropped. So we have a similar case here. So this is a neutral candle here. Neutral candle means that price can go in either direction. So we don't know that it will drop, but it's failing to go higher, and that suggests that it could drop. So here what I'm looking for is either a pullback into this level here, that pin, so pull back and a drop, or we could get a third retest and then a drop. But I am looking for price to basically fail. And if it fails to go higher, it will go lower. So I'm looking for a move towards 1.1160, and that will be our first target. If it breaks below that, we could see a move into 1.1120. But for now, I'm looking for a push up and then a drop here. But the bias here is neutral for euro dollar. Pound dollar here, pound did not do a whole lot either. It just kind of stayed in this range. It did go and test the high of this range that it's been trading in for a while here, and then dropped from there. So here we are still trading in that range. So our bias is neutral to slightly based to the downside, because now I'm looking for price to go and test the lower part of the range. So we have rejected the higher part of the range, now looking for a move lower here. towards the bottom of the range. So bias is slightly to the downside here. Target is 1.2080, and we could see something like this. And if we don't see price break through, I will look for price to go back towards the middle of the range and then potentially higher part of the range. So for now, still looking at a range bound move, but a bias to the downside for testing the bottom of the range. Now, should we see a drop through the bottom here, I would look for a pullback and then another drop. Excuse me. And next target would be 1.1987. So that's our target. So bias here is bearish. First target is 1.2080. Second target, 1.1987. Aussie dollar here. Aussie dollar took or made a move to the downside here as well with the New Zealand dollar. So the commodity currencies tend to move together. So when we saw a big, huge cut in our big rate cut in New Zealand dollar, we saw Australian dollar drop right beside it. So here, there was a big drop, but now we have a pin. Overall there, though, bias is still to the downside here. We could get a retest either into the high or into the top of this candle here. And if it stays below that level, so this is 0.6785 or 80. And if it stays below, I will look for price to drop lower here, and target is 0.6700. So for now, the bias is to the downside, and second target would be 0.6680. So bearish bias for Aussie dollar here. New Zealand dollar, this was that big drop that we saw from the rate cut here. And if you look at Euro New Zealand, Pound New Zealand, the drop, actually the moves were quite a bit bigger. They just went crazy. 500 pip move, I think it was in Euro New Zealand. So for this one here, we saw a big move to the downside. It's come back a bit here. So this is the biggest candle in quite some time here. So bias is still bearish. Now, taking a look at our 1 hour chart, we do have this big inefficiency. So we could see price go up into 0.64 or 6500 and then drop, or price could just drop from where it is currently. So if price doesn't break this pullback level, chances are it will go lower. And first target would be the bottom of this candle here at 0.6380. If it breaks through this level at 0.6470, it could go into 0.6500 level. Excuse me. And then I will look for a drop. But those are the two levels that I'm watching for a pullback. But overall, I would look for that continuation move to the downside. So bias here is bearish for New Zealand dollar. And the target is 0.6380. Dollar CAD here, this one has been bullish. Yesterday we were looking for a bullish move. We saw that. So bias is still bullish, but we have a large pin on top, which means that price may have difficulty going into that area once again. But for now, I'm looking for a retest, but it may struggle breaking through. So I'm just looking for a move like that. Price goes to test the high, and then it may come down towards the middle or the bottom of this move again. So we could see price kind of go sideways here. But for now, bias is bullish and looking for a retest of 1.3350 for dollar CAD. All right, a huge move here in silver. So big, huge move here. And in order to get next targets, we have to zoom out. So gold and silver have been very strong lately. So bias is bullish here. And next target is 17.30 for silver. Gold here, again, yesterday we were looking for a move higher. So we got that. We had a nice pin bar. now we have another nice candle close here. So let's see. I don't have the full history here. Okay, so but for gold, bias is bullish. Actually, let's go to the weekly here and see what we have. So we are into some serious highs. Okay, so so this one is looking bullish as well. We could get, I will look for a drop for a continuation higher. So essentially something like this, oops, and then higher. Oil has dropped. So what we have seen, is uncertainty in the market here. So the global markets are concerned about trade wars, and equity markets have been dropping here. And as a result of that, and the trade war issues, oil is actually to the downside here. The bias is bearish, and we have seen a huge drop here because with the trade wars and the new tariffs going up, the problem is that Chinese economy may not do as well. And when there are any issues like this, usually we see oil drop because China is a big consumer of oil. And if their economy is decreasing, then that's not good for oil consumption. So that's why this is bearish here. So I will look for a retest of 50.50. That will be the target here. And then we could see it go sideways. But for now, bias is bearish here for oil. Oh, also, there was a buildup in the oil inventories instead of being a drawdown. When there is a buildup, that means there is too much oil, so they have to store it. And that's negative for price of oil. And that's why we're looking for price to drop. 50.50 is the target. Copper here, copper is bullish. Yesterday we were looking for a move higher. We got that. So, excuse me. It still looks bullish here. What we could see is a pullback potentially into 2.53 and then a move higher. Oops. It doesn't want to go away. All right. So bullish bias, first target is 2.56, second target 2.59. So bearish bias here. Bitcoin here, we have seen Bitcoin go up. So Bitcoin is actually reacting almost like a safe haven assets. So when we see a lot of volatility in the market, we have seen a reaction out of our Bitcoin and seen it go up. So today we saw that price dropped here because yesterday we were looking for a drop and then it went back up and closed bullish. So bias is bullish here. First target is where are we? 12,300 is the first target. And if it goes through that, we're looking at 13,200. So bullish bias for Bitcoin. S&P 500, this was all over the place. Yesterday we had a bullish candle close, price pulled back and then moved higher. Today's candle close is not very strong. So yesterday's candle was stronger than today, which means that we could see another move to the downside. So I would look for price to go back and test the low. And if it doesn't break through, only then am I looking for price to move higher here. But for today, as long as price stays below 28.80, chances are it's going to drop. Nasdaq here. Same thing, exact same thing as S&P 500. We saw prices go down, then pull back up, and then it got stuck into the support resistance level here. And today's candle could not make it to the other side. So bias is bearish, and then target is 7186. So bearish bias here for Nasdaq. DAX here, DAX is interesting. It's holding at an important support resistance level. It's just been sideways here, hasn't really done anything. The close here is bullish, but the problem is if price goes into 11,780, we could see it go down. So something like this. So if it doesn't go through, I will look for it to get down. And if it does go through, then we have tons of room to the upside. FTSE here, FTSE, we have a positive move here, so bias is bullish. I'm looking for price to go and retest this 73.20 level here. So bullish bias, and then if it doesn't go through, it could drop. So bullish bias here for FTSE. And next one here, Nikkei. Nikkei, we had a drop initially, then it pulled back, and as we can see, it kind of held below this support resistance level here. So as long as it stays below 20,600, it's likely to drop. First target here is 20,260, and then second one would be 19,970. All right, so that's all we have. And good luck with your trading, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.